Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head over to Belgium, and as I promised you a few months back on the channel, I am going to make more of an effort and review some Belgian beers for you, because it's been something that I neglected on the channel for quite a little while. So for this one we're going to go to the Maredsous Abbey. I do apologise if any of my friends' pronunciations aren't quite correct, because it's been a long time since I've done French, but we're going to have a taste of one of the Maredsous beers, and this one is the Tripel. So it comes in at 10% ABV. The Tripel, of course, is one of my favourite Belgian beer styles, probably along with the Quadrupel actually. Those two are my favourites, but this one should be really nice. It had a 98 overall on rate beer. I think it was 98 within the style as well. As I always say though, take rate beer with a bit of a pinch of salt, because it is an American dominated site, but the Untappd rating was well into the 4 stars when I checked it out, so it should be a really nice beer there. Both of them are good barometers. Of course, beer is always subjective and you should make up your own mind on it, but I've heard this is a good beer, and as always I'm looking forward to it and hope you guys enjoy my take on this one. So anyway, as is usual with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery and the Abbey. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that hopefully I can do in the future from the Maredsous Abbey. Very first time I'm trying one of their beers, of course. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Belgian beers that I've reviewed for you. That's constantly being added to, and as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about the Maredsous Abbey and the Maredsous beers then. So as I've mentioned to you, the Maredsous beers are associated with the Maredsous Abbey, which is a Benedictine monastery in a little town called Denis near Namur in Wallonia in Belgium. It's right in the kind of southeastern part of the country. It's just a little bit out to the east of Charleroi. But the Abbey was founded in November of 1872 by Hildebrand de Hemptine, who was a Belgian monk at the Brouwerij Abbey in Germany. But the monastery itself was funded by the Desclée family, who paid for the design and the construction of the buildings, and the monastery itself was apparently designed by Jean-Baptiste de Béthune, and it was based on a Cistercian abbey which was over in Villiers. Apparently this was one of the first abbeys that kind of reformed itself after the secularisation policies that went through, but the construction finished in 1892, and the abbey has since had 13 different abbots. But outside of their worship, apparently they used to run an art school as well, which then merged later in 1964 with the Namur School of Crafts to form the Technical Institute of Arts and Crafts, which apparently is a very, very good school. But they also produced the Maredsous cheese as well, which they've done for a number of years, and there's 7 varieties of this. Apparently it's known for being quite a briny cheese. It's quite a salty cheese that these guys produce, and this style was apparently copied by the Laughing Cow Company over in America. Apparently that's where they got their sort of inspiration from for the sort of salty cheese and the little sort of triangle things, which is kind of cool. It is cool when you encounter little things like this. But since 1963, the Abbey beers have also been produced under license by Duvel Moortgat, and they produced the beers, 3 different beers. There's the Blonde, the Brun and the Tripel, and these beers apparently are all authentic Abbey recipes which have passed down the generations of the monks. And there was one monk, or one abbot in particular, or one monk in particular, that was famed for his cuisine and things like that, but I can't quite remember his name. He was the one that was in charge of the cheese, but apparently until Duvel Moortgat started brewing the beers under license, well, there was one of the monks that was really quite well known for that as well. There wasn't any real history on the website and things like that about that. I had to use the Belgian beer tourism website for all that information that I've just given you, but there was apparently one monk who was particularly well known for his brewing, and the monastery actually do take quite an active interest in the brewing. Apparently they all quite often go out to the Duvel Moortgat brewery and see what's going on and keep up to date with what's going on as well. But a really interesting brewery, this one, and the beers I'm sure will be very, very good. So that's all you really need to know about the Maredsous Abbey and the Maredsous beers. Let's actually get on to the tasting of this beer itself then. So yeah, I'll just let you have a little look at the artwork of this one before we open up. There you can see there. All of these beers incidentally have a very similar style of artwork. It's just this little bit down here that is a different colour depending on what one you have. I think the Blonde is the orange one, and the Brun beer is a kind of bright brown. They all have their different bottle caps as well, and it is of course one of these typical 330ml stubby beers. It tells you a little bit on the back here. High fermentation fermentation Abbey beer brewed in accordance with the Benedictine tradition of the community of Maredsous Abbey, re-fermented in the bottle. So it is a bottle conditioned beer. Nicely presented, this one, best before September of 2019, so it's well in date. One of my favourite Belgian styles, like I said. There's a quick look at the bottle cap for you before we open it up. Just check the camera's focusing. There we are. But yeah, nicely presented beer, this one. So without further ado, let's get it out and we'll get on with the tasting then. Really looking forward to this. Nice smoky opening there, a little bit just wanting to escape, but overall it is quite well behaved. Some of these Belgian beers can go a little bit crazy when you pour them. You always have to be careful with these Belgian beers, just in case they explode on you. But look at that. That's a really crystal clear Tripel. Look at that. Lovely pour on that beer, actually. I was expecting it to be a little bit more hazy, right enough, but you know, as long as it tastes good, that is the main thing. But yeah, as you can see with this one, it's poured a nice, dark, rich amber colour, that one. There's a lot of carbonation visible in that. You can see a lot of little bubbles just going up towards the bottom of that head there. Incidentally, the head is 2 fingers. I would say it's this very slightly cream coloured head on this one. 1 or 2 big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, and quite a few little ones just heading up towards the bottom of that head there. But you know, overall it does look pretty nice. I'll just take the condensation away from the glass, but you can see, I'm not sure how well you can see that on the camera, but I can certainly see that this beer does have quite a bit of clarity to it. Although that said, it is a little bit hazier than it was when I poured it initially. There must have been a little bit of sediment or so at the bottom of the beer, which is completely natural, of course, for a Belgian beer. And you can smell some of the lovely caramelly notes coming out of this this beer already. But let's take a closer look at the aroma then and just see how we get on with this beer. But yeah, that smells really nice. You've got that typical big, white bready Belgian yeast quality coming out of this one. Big, doughy, yeasty notes. A little bit of an almost, I don't know if there's a little bit of a kind of spicy note to it or something like that. But overall, it does smell quite sweet. There's a nice, sweet caramel note coming out of this beer. There's a little bit of a biscuity, grainy quality in there as well. But yeah, it's a really nice smelling beer. It's just really quite fresh. I always love taking a bit of a smell of these Tripels. This one has a little bit of a floral quality to the hops as well. There's a little bit of a lemony citrus coming out of it too, which is lovely. But overall, I would say this one's a little bit more bready and caramelly than some of the other ones I've come across. But it does smell really nice. The one thing I've always found about the Belgian beers is the aroma it doesn't really jump out of the glass at you a lot of the time. You really have to go in quite close to it and just get a nice kind of whiff of it. But the grassy notes are coming out. There's a wee touch of earthiness I'm noting starting to come out of the beer as well, just as we sugar it up. But yeah, mainly the aroma in this one. It's quite bready. There's a little bit of a caramelly biscuit thing coming out of this one. But it does smell, you know, it just smells really nice. It's got that lovely big bready, doughy, Belgian yeasty quality to it. A little bit of a almost spicy note in there as well. So as I always say, it's almost a little bit clovey right enough. But as I always say, just take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma of the beer before you get stuck in. But let's have a go at this one then. So this one is the Maredsous Tripel, one of the Maredsous Abbey beers that's brewed by Duvel Moortgat from Denis, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, or Denis, I'm not sure what the exact pronunciation is, in the southeastern part of Belgium over in Europe. Let's get stuck into this one. A really lovely Abbey Tripel beer this. Let's get stuck in. Slange, Skull, Proust, Santé. Yeah, you know, straight up you can see it's a really, really solid beer, this one. It's just really nicely done. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much everything you'd expect. You know, these Belgian traditional beers, I keep saying it about German and Belgian beer. Belgium and Germany, and I guess Czech Republic as well, these guys are the master of producing quality beers on the big scale. This is just really nicely done. Yeah, have a go at this beer if you get the chance. It's just, you know, it's everything you expect and it just goes down really, really quite nicely. So yeah, let's examine the flavour of this one a little bit more. As I always say, take a little bit of time and sugar the beer around your palate and just let your whole mouth adjust to it before you start analysing it too much. But yeah, I would say with this one, you've got that nice white bready quality there. That just blankets the middle of your palate. In the middle of your tongue, you start to get a bit of the thicker, doughy, bready, yeasty qualities coming out of this beer. There's a little bit of a biscuity note that pushes out towards the edge of the tongue a little bit more with this one. And then right in the middle of your palate, you've got a little bit of that sweeter, boozier caramel coming out of the beer. It's quite simple in terms of its malt base, this one, but it just does it really well. And I think it actually sweetens up a little bit as you go further and further into the aftertaste. The bready quality and the sort of biscuity, syrupy kind of thing that's sitting in the middle of that. There's almost a little bit of a kind of honeycomb flavour to this beer, I think, actually. Almost just like a honeycomb quality that starts to push its way out of this beer later on. You can feel it just kind of sweetening up as you go further and further into the aftertaste of the beer. But yeah, it's really nice. I think this Tripel is a little bit sweeter in the malt base than some of the other ones that I've come across. That sort of honeycomb, digestive, biscuity flavour that's coming out of this one. That's, I think, what is the kind of unique point about this beer, actually. I really do like how that comes out. And as I say, I think it sweetens up a little bit as you go further and further into the aftertaste of this beer. In the back corners of the palate, there's a teeny little touch of earthiness, but as you come further forward, it evolves into a little bit more of a herbal thing. There's a wee touch of floral character on the front corners of the palate, but round the very front curve of the tongue, the beer's just a little bit lighter and grassy, and it suits it really nicely. When you go behind the front curve of the palate, of course, that's where you get a little bit of that kind of, that little oily bubble where the nice kind of fruity, juicy esters start to come out of the beer. For me, the fruity character in this one's really nice. It does have a little bit of that lemony citrus right on the tip of the tongue, but I think there's a sort of very, I don't know if it's peachy, there's maybe a little bit of a peachy quality to this one, but to me, the fruity notes come out a little bit like a kind of apricot-y note. There's maybe a little bit of a dried apricot flavour to this one, just behind the front curve of the palate as well. But all the flavours in this beer go together really nicely. That apricot-y flavour, there's almost just a little bit of a kind of woody note behind the front curve of the tongue as well. So you've got that nice apricot-y note, a little bit of woody character, and then just behind that, you've got the big doughy, bready, yeasty thing that you always expect of the Belgian beers, of course, and you've got that biscuity caramel sweetness. There's a really interesting blend of flavours in this beer, and that's what a lot of the Belgian beers are about, of course, particularly the big boozy ones like the Tripel and the Quadrupel, of course. But they're always, you know, they're always just beautiful beers, and this one is no exception to that. It's just really, really nicely done, and it is cool, like I say, that these Belgian breweries can produce these beers on such a big scale but still maintain the level of quality that they do. It's, you know, it's a lovely Tripel, this one. As I say, I think the unique character to this one is that sort of almost caramel wafery flavour that it has. I think that works for it really, really well. In terms of the mouthfeel of this beer then, I would say definitely a full-bodied beer, on the lighter side of full-bodied though. Carbonation, it does have a little bit of a prickle to it because it's a bottle fermented beer, which you do expect. Overall, the mouthfeel is quite oily. There's not too big a hoppy bitterness for this one. The hops for me are quite smooth on this beer. The malt base has a nice big sweetness to it, but it's not overly sweet, if that makes sense, and there's a good little bit of a juicy fruity character in there as well. The malt base, I would say, does kind of smooth out a little bit just because of all the bready, yeasty qualities, you know, these typical Belgian yeasty elements that you expect of the beer. But overall, it's just a really, really nice Tripel, and to be honest, there's not much that you can ask for. I say the same about the German Doppelbock when I review those, but the Tripels and the Quadrupels in Belgium, it's always really cool to try these styles that are, you know, the beers are all quite similar in terms of the style, but they all have their little quirks and niches and things like this, and I think the quirky quality about this one is that little sort of you know, caramel wafer sort of flavour that it has. I think a little bit of the apricot-y flavour that's coming out of this one is quite unique as well, but the little bit of the woody note as well, just the way the malt base and the fruits kind of blend together in this one is really quite nice. But it's a lovely, lovely beer, this, and on the basis of this one I certainly would quite like to have a go at the blonde and the broom beer at some point as well. I mean, they've done a great job of this. You wouldn't expect anything less from one of these big Abbey Belgian breweries, and you know, Duvel Moortgat, they are one of the bigger companies over in Belgium, but you know, they do some pretty good beers. I love the original Duvel, and I like the Duvel Triple Hop Citra as well. They're both really nice beers. So you know, you've got a quality brewery brewing this. It's a lovely beer. There's not much more you can ask for with this. It's just a lovely Tripel, and you need to have a go at it for yourself and see what you think. So yeah, let's leave it at that. Another really interesting Belgian beer. Wouldn't expect anything less, of course, but have a go at this one for yourself and see what you think. So once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Let me know your own thoughts on this one in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite beer is from the Maredsous Abbey range. Let me know what your favourite beer is from Duvel Moortgat as well, because I know that they brew quite a few different things. But this one's been really nice to review for you. Let me know your own thoughts in the comment section below. Like I say, check out my social media and all this sort of thing, and I will catch you guys very soon. You will be seeing more Belgian beer reviews over the next little while, and it's been cool to review this one for you. It will be mainly quadruples and tripels that you'll see me review, because those are my favourite styles, but we'll stick to the Belgian beers over the next little while. But thank you again for watching, and I will catch you guys very soon. The Tripel from the Maredsous Abbey range from Duvel Moortgat in Belgium. Make sure you go and check out the Maredsous Abbey as well. It looks like a really, really quite nice building in the little village of Denis near Namur in the southeastern part of Belgium. Until the next time, slange just now, and I will catch you guys very soon. Proust, santé.